Hey folks, I'm just going to make a small video of the Stratus Lift, the 9,000 pound model, which I bought about 6, maybe 8 weeks ago from the Stratus Auto Equipment Company in College Station. And it's working, it's functioning properly. I'm just going to review it a little bit with y'all to talk about some of the things that I discovered about it that wasn't in the instructions. The instruction manual was not, it needed some detail work to make it a good instruction manual. There's a couple things that probably could have been made better. So it took a bit of figuring out on my part to get this thing to be functioning. Or functional, I should say. First of all, in here was not wired correctly. I talked to the woman, and excuse me, I talked to the woman, and she said this should be wired according to. Well, she said it should be wired properly from China. It was not. It was off quite a bit. So I had to actually figure it out, wire it together, and get it to function and to work properly. So there we go up. The clicks are not in unison. So that means one of the cables probably needs to be lengthened just a little bit, but it's not enough for me to really worry about. Now I'm going to let it down into both locks. Okay, so the fittings here on the hydraulic hoses are only aluminum, and they're prone to probably fail quickly because any good hose manufacturer will not make them like this. They won't be all aluminum like that. They're going to have a brass end, maybe an aluminum pipe, but it's going to be better than this. So I'm expecting these to fail sometime, and I'm just going to take them off and go down to the professionals and get some good sets made. So, and then of course there's one hose here, and then there's a hose that runs the bottom underneath there, underneath that little protection plate. Now, speaking of that protection plate, that actually should not have such a hard edge, because some of the cars that I have that are relatively lightweight, but they're on small little wheels, 6-inch, 8-inch wheels. So this ledge is a little bit difficult for the car to go up over. So I might take this plate off and add another angle here to make it a more of a gradual egress over the plate. But if you had a car, you can drive in, it's no problem. It's very wide, which is really good. It's wider than most of them from the post to post, which is great because I can get my trailer under here and pick cars up off it, which is one reason why I bought this way. Let me go back to the wiring part. And what they give you coming out of here is just a pigtail. Comes out about 6 inches out of the box. That I threw that all away and put all new wiring in because I put conduit in, as you can see, all the way up and over to the box over there behind the air compressor. So, but I also put in an outlet, a 120 volt outlet right there, which of course that wasn't in the instructions, but you just have to do it. I've also marked here where to go, recommended stopping points, because the cutoff switch that she gave me, which I put up in there, does not work, which is not a big deal because I know where to stop and where to, it won't go past here. So it'll go up to about here, and then you let it down and it locks right here at where I wrote down max lock. So it works very well. What I really like is the adjustable pads, and you've got added spacers you can put on here. It's really a good lift for what I need. It's only 9,000 pounds, but I don't need any more because I don't lift up a lot of big heavy stuff. They're relatively lightweight cars like that. And it's good. I like it because there's no bar on top. The bar's on the bottom. So it's good for here because I'm going to put in some shelving over there. And if I can make this work, I'm going to make a platform to go here that the car will go on when it's on a dolly and lift it up, and we'll just push it off the lift onto the shelf over here, and we can store cars up there because I'm paying for the space in here, and I might as well go vertical. That's the only way you can do it and be very efficient. You know, you've got to store stuff off the floor and get it up in the air. But overall, this is a very good lift. Very economically priced, and I would recommend you guys to buy it. And another thing I did inform the woman who sells these is that in here, the channel that the carriage rides in, these little white plastic blocks, in the channel here, there's a lot of slag from the welds. So that means when those Chinese guys were welding this, they didn't clean it out properly. So what happened was going up and down, the slag cuts into the white plastic blocks, and it rips them up a lot. So she says you have to put a lot of lubrication in there. That's some spray lubrication there, that blob. But I'm not putting much grease in there at all because I'm relatively dusty in here. So I don't want to have dust and grease. They don't mix. So I'd rather just run them dry and put some dry lubrication in there. But that's something to look out for. It took me about a week of straightforward effort to get this thing installed. Granted, I've never done it before, so I had to drill these holes out, and the cement was barely the minimum thickness. A lot of times the contractors of the buildings that you may be in, they're going to only put the cement just as thick as they need to. All the bolts went in except for one, because I hit rebar on one of these bolts, and I was only able to get the bolt in about 3 inches. So I ended up cutting the bolt, that bolt right there. I cut it and then rethreaded it and drove it in as far as I could. So that's the only one that hit the rebar. Overall, the other ones are in there good. They went all the way through and they're anchored in properly. But something to also consider, the bolts that are provided with the lift, they are metric. So if you were to use a SAE drill, it's a little bit off. So you need to either get the 3/4 inch bolts and use a 3/4 inch drill, or use the provided bolts and then get the corresponding metric size drill. Because the 3/4 is a little bit smaller than those bolts. So you have to put the 3/4 in and aug it out a little bit, aug the concrete out, but not too much because you don't want it to crack it. It's just some of the little things between the Chinese or the metric stuff, and of course the directions were not very well written. I told her, I said I can help her write a new manual if she wants to pay me, or give me some equipment, because I used to write manuals and stuff in the military. So, but it's hard. I mean, she's translating it from Chinese into English. So overall, I'm very pleased with this. It's a very good lift for the value of the money. So I'd recommend you guys buy it if you need to. Okay? And that's it for me. Everybody have a good day. Choose. Be good.